This is a three-part moon mission. It uses the same kind of spacecraft as the Strassenblitz version that went to Ike and Duna and all that. The only difference really is that this one uses the rover variant of the Mark II lander. The main difference between the variant and the normal one is that the rover variant has a much higher crash tolerance. It's around 100 meters a second, so that just makes a lot of things easier. Right now we're just doing all the normal orbital stuff to get to the Mun. I'm going to set up a little gravity assist kind of thing, as well as getting the periapsis very low so I can use the Mun to litho brake and get rid of the orange tank. Even though the tank is colored orange, it's actually the Rockomax 64 tank. It's just orange because I wanted it to be. This little maneuver took quite a few tries. I had to quick save and reload like 20 times. I don't know why, but it's super random whether or not parts will detach and then also ruin the rest of your craft or just detach cleanly. Here we go. The orange tank is going to hit the ground and pop off. There we go. So now we're still in a escape velocity orbit. So we're going to just quickly deorbit a little bit. Once I set the thrust limiter to 100, we're going to deorbit, and we're in a suborbital trajectory now. Now, I don't think that this craft has enough of a delta V to land on the Mun and then also return to Kerbin. So what's going to happen is I'm going to turn it around, I'm going to get a Kerbal out of the craft, and then I'm going to shoot the Kerbal in the rearward direction using the twin bore engine. I think that the twin bore engine actually has two separate like thrust vectors, and each of them is only half of the engine's power. So it's not going to go as hard as I expected it to, but it's still plenty of speed for it to deorbit and get to a safe velocity. I wasted a little bit too much propellant here trying to get this Kerbal lined up because I was a bit worried that we were gonna hit the ground quickly because we're still on a suborbital trajectory. But we actually had plenty of time. And I just stabilize that orbit real quick. Now I'm going to get to the Kerbal and use his EVA pack to get down to a safer velocity. And honestly, I didn't really know what speed I had to hit the ground for him to survive. Sometimes he dies at like 30 meters a second, and sometimes he survives at like 100. But 70 seems to be fine. He bounced off the planet, or he bounced off the moon. And yeah, he's not very happy, but he will be because he knows he survived. There we go. And now begins the long tumble into the crater. He's gonna just keep falling for like a minute. There we go. I think all the bones in his body may be slightly broken, but I mean, he's incredible. He can take it. So now he just plants a flag. He still has enough EVA propellant to get to orbit, but just barely. I don't know if he can actually get to orbit right now because I had to do a little bit of maneuvering in order to get him safely back in the ship, which will be shown in a bit. Right now, he's just gonna plant a flag. He's gonna take a surface sample, and then he's gonna walk very, very far. And Kerbals walks so slowly on the Mun. It's just like I'm not gonna make you watch the entire thing. I'm gonna speed up the video, but he's gonna walk, and by the time he's finished walking, the spacecraft is already gonna be ready to pick him up. Yeah, he's gonna walk all the way up this crater. I don't know. It's not even like it's like 2 kilometers, maybe 3 kilometers. But it took him like almost 10 minutes, I think, of just walking. Yeah, walking at 4x time acceleration too. I was also taking quick saves as he walked, just in case the physics decided to screw me over and kill him while he was walking, because that sometimes happens in KFP. I mean, you never know. Now for the takeoff, I kind of gave him a little bit of altitude, and then I turned off SAS and just kind of dragged him facing backwards so that he could use his back jetpack at an angle. I think I think this might be more efficient than using shift as well as W because you don't waste fuel getting two different vectors of thrust. Although I could be wrong. I don't know, I don't really know how the physics works for Kerbal's jetpacks. So now I'm switching to the ship. I'm setting him as target. I'm just going to change my velocity a little bit to get an intersect at a good time. I don't want the intersect velocity to be too high either, so I'm trying to lower that down. The Kerbal's running very low on fuel, so I also need the intersect to be a little bit quicker because we are on an orbital trajectory. Right now, the Kerbal is just kind of fine tuning the distance, so we're gonna get right on it. Now, the intercept velocity is still a little bit too high for the Kerbal because he's only got 0.15 propellant left. So I'm just gonna turn the craft around, uh, burn retrograde compared to the Kerbal, I guess. Cancel out a little bit of that velocity. And now we're going at a speed which the Kerbal can dock without running out of fuel. And even so, he only had zero point 0.3 left by the time I docked. So I was cutting a little bit close there. And now we're going to get back into a stable orbit. And at this point, I was going to attempt to go to the Minmus because I think we have enough fuel to do it. But unfortunately, I messed up a little bit and I whiffed it and I got my electric charge down to 0, which means that I don't have any maneuvering capability at all uh, without burning fuel. Right here. And I was like, oh, dang it. So I just decided to return home because I don't think I could land on Minmus and get back with 0 electric charge. As long as I have 1 electric charge, I can make minor adjustments without burning the engines. But it's too much work to have to like deal with that. So I'm just gonna return home, do a bunch of maneuvering to get done my periapsis. Right here, I accidentally, well, I thought I was gonna be fine. I did a Mun slingshot, and I thought I would just be in a really high apoapsis, but it actually ejected my spacecraft from the Kerbal system. So, well, I just had to do a little bit of time wasting and use up a little bit of delta V to get back in there. But whatever. Got my periapsis to a low enough altitude to start aerobraking. And yeah, I'm just gonna skip all that because I mean aerobraking is aerobraking. Every time I go out to the farm map view, it's because I'm trying to reset my camera. I don't know, KSP has weird camera stuff going on. Yeah, anyway, this part took a long time, so I sped it up a lot. Every pass only took off like a very small amount of apoapsis. So anyway, we're finally at a very low orbit. I started to aerobrake a bit harder because you got lower velocity, down to like the 57-kilometer mark. Also, I needed to make sure we have at least a couple hundred meters a second to cancel out my landing velocity, because this craft has a fairly high terminal velocity. And I'm pretty sure that if I hit the ground at terminal velocity, the lander can would still explode. It's got high crash tolerance, but it's not that high. It's like 100 meters a second. Finally doing our little re-entry. The craft got kind of hot, but I mean, not hot enough to break it, so whatever. Right here, I was kind of worried. I don't really know how high the altitude was, but I remembered you can switch to ground mode, radar altitude, and then I use that to burn it, tilt it a little bit, and then bounce the craft up the mountain to lower my speed a little bit. Yep, and now once it stops rolling, I grab the Kerbals, draw them out, and well, they're still alive. And I don't know why he still has 8 EVA propellant, because he ended up with only like 0.03. I think that the EVA propellant resets every time they go into a craft, which is, it's like kind of nice, but it's also a bit cheaty, so I didn't use that.